We are talking about a truck that had to travel a total of 80,500 kilometers. But the problem wasn't just how to make the truck undertake such a long journey. The main issue was that a very large block of ice was placed in this truck, which had to survive Africa's scorching Sahara intact. In this desert, where even iron would soften and ice melts within minutes without refrigeration, the truck had to spend 10 whole days. The challenge was that under no circumstances should the ice melt, and that too without a refrigerator. It's worth noting that in 1959, the world's attention was focused on an ice block weighing 3,050 kilograms, which had to be transported from one corner of the world to another without refrigeration, starting from Mo i Rana city in Norway and ending in Liberia, a city in Central Africa. But ultimately, why was this ice block being transported so far? The matter actually began a year earlier, in 1958. Luxembourg is a European country from which a very famous radio station operates. This radio station, known globally as Broadcast Radio Luxembourg, set a unique challenge for all its listeners. If anyone could transport a 3-ton ice block from the Arctic region to Africa, they would be awarded a substantial prize. Radio Luxembourg had decided to offer 100,000 francs per kilogram of ice, which is equivalent to $16,000 today. For a 3-ton ice block, this amounts to $48 million, which is indeed a significant sum. However, there were some rules for this challenge. The first rule was that the ice block must be transported in one piece. The second rule was that it must be transported solely by road. The third and most difficult rule was that no refrigeration could be used to complete the challenge. The hefty prize was a deterrent because they knew very well that transporting such a large ice block from the region to Africa was under any circumstances impossible, as it was not a short journey but a full 8,500 kilometers. Of these, 2,500 kilometers is the African scorching desert where temperatures reach 50 degrees Celsius, where ice, which melts within minutes once taken out of the freezer, would struggle to survive such a long and arduous overnight journey intact. Radio Luxembourg issued this challenge, but they had no idea how this challenge would entangle them into difficulty. For several months since the broadcast on radio, no one had the capability to proceed. Then, a person named Birger Nordvik declared that he was ready to accept this challenge. Birger Nordvik, who was the managing director of an insulation company called Glassford in Norway, believed that using his company's insulation materials, this challenge could be easily overcome. If Birger Nordvik succeeded in completing the challenge, his company, Glassview, and its employees would accumulate considerable wealth. The news had spread worldwide that someone had accepted Radio Luxembourg's ice block challenge. To carry out the plan, Nordvik formed a team and began working to complete the challenge, resulting in Nordvik being featured on many newspaper headlines. All previous attempts to complete the ice block challenge were abandoned when Radio Luxembourg became aware of them. They began to fear losing a very large sum of money, and out of fear, they withdrew their offer because Glassford Company and its director had become quite famous. As a result, Radio Luxembourg's offer ended, but Nordvik still decided to take on this challenge. They believed that even if they did not receive the money, they would still undertake the challenge because it increased their company's publicity. It was now time to start this challenge. It had been decided that the ice block would be sent from the city of Mo i Rana in Oslo all the way to Libreville in Gabon, Africa. The ice block would pass through Denmark, the Netherlands, Belgium, France, Spain and Morocco before going through Sohra in Algeria. Network's team included 1 engineer, 4 drivers, 1 truck mechanic and 2 cameramen. They decided to cut the 3-ton ice block from the glacier, but lifting such a large ice block at once was quite difficult. So the 200 kg blocks were cut and sent down by helicopter. Nordvik and their hard work were receiving a lot of media attention, and because of this, several companies began sponsoring Network to fulfill this challenge. Elle took responsibility for the fuel, and Scania provided them with the truck in which the ice block was to be kept. The 200 kg blocks were brought down from the glacier and refrozen to create a single 30-50 kg block. This block was placed in a special container and loaded onto the truck, which was insulated on the sides with special glass wool. After proper insulation, on February 26, 1959, finally, this unique journey began. The initial part of the journey was quite easy because the weather in those regions was also very pleasant and the roads were fine. Since this news had spread all over the world, people welcomed the truck and its crew in every major city they passed through, cheering them on with slogans. As their journey progressed, their publicity increased further. When the truck was passing through Paris, the local police provided them with special protocols to pass through the crowded areas. Even the mayor of Paris had invited the crew. A week had passed since the start of this journey. Upon reaching the sea, the truck was placed on a ship with the help of a crane because they now had to cross a large part of the ocean. Upon reaching the other side of the sea, the conditions had changed completely. The truck was now on African soil where the daytime heat was extremely intense. Not only was there a risk of the ice block melting, but traveling on hot sand also posed a threat to the truck's engine, and there was also the fear of the crew's health deteriorating. In addition to all these dangers, the truck was also under a security threat because the area they were passing through was undergoing a war, and freedom fighters were hiding in the mountains. These people could take the truck and its crew hostage to push their demands. To handle this danger, the French Foreign Legion provided security to the truck and its crew in some areas of Sohra and gave them special instructions to pass through Sohra with minimal stops. However, because there were no proper roads in Sohra, the truck kept getting stuck in the sand again and again. They were in such a hurry to reach their destination that their path was fraught with difficulties. Every time the truck got stuck, it required the crew to extract it. Transporting the world's most expensive ice block was now their mission. On one hand, there was fear of freedom fighters, and on the other hand, the heat had worsened the condition of the track, and to make matters worse, this heat had started melting the ice blocks inside the truck. If it had broken here, neither their mission would have been fulfilled, nor would the ice extracted from thousands of miles away have survived. They also poured the melted ice water for the animals of passengers passing through Shera, which was actually the most expensive water in the world. They spent many nights laying sleeping bags on the sand and gradually faced difficulties as they moved towards their destination. Eventually, they succeeded in leaving Shera behind, and now their destination was much closer. After a full journey of 28 days, the truck crew and the remaining ice blocks managed to reach Libreville. Upon reaching Libreville, they were warmly welcomed, but everyone only wanted to know one thing. After a 28-day journey and going through the toughest conditions, how much ice was left in the container? Amazingly, when the truck's container was opened, it was hard to believe what was seen inside. Yes, the ice blocks were 30-50 kilos when leaving Norway, but after the most difficult 28-day journey, amazingly, the ice blocks weighed 2,740 kilograms. Only 11 persons worth of ice, that is only 336 kilograms of ice, had melted along the way, while all the remaining ice blocks were intact. Indeed, Radio Luxembourg had withdrawn its offer, but still, this challenge was completely successful and the ice was broken and distributed among the people of Gabon, who had never seen ice before. Nautic and their company did not receive any cash reward at that time, but this publicity greatly boosted their company's sales. Glaswart still manufactures insulation material under the name Glava, and since 1959, their popularity has only been increasing.